Good evening and welcome to the Murdoch University campus here in Perth's southern suburbs for NPL women's action here in the west. It's a heavyweight battle to kick off the NPLW finals series as Murdoch University Melville and Northern Redbacks face off for a place in Sunday's grand final. Great to have your company with us here on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook page this evening. My name's Tommy Dolman. It's great to have your company once more. Last night we had an enthralling night of men's football as Perth Soccer Club and Floreat Athena booked their places in Sunday's men's NPLWA grand final. But for tonight it's the women who will shine, and hopefully the two semi-finals on this Thursday night will compel you all just as much as last night's. Hosts Murdoch University Melville will officially crowned as inaugural NPLWWA champions last weekend following a 1-1 draw with Fremantle City as the curtain came down on the regular season. Pete Rakish's side might have only dropped points for the fourth time this season on Friday, but this is an experienced group with strong team chemistry and one who were unbeaten in 4 games despite the minor dead rubber slip-up last week. The Redbacks, meanwhile, left it while round 14 to book their place in the top 4 cup finals as they edged past Curtin 2-1 while NTC dropped points elsewhere. It's been an indifferent season for Conrad McKelvey's side, who have had to deal with a few injuries along the way, but their defence has kept them in many games. And as WA's most successful women's-only club, they need no introduction in terms of their credentials on an evening like this. Some of their experienced bodies are now reaching peak fitness. They've suddenly found a scoring touch. And with their first back-to-back wins of 2020 confirmed at the weekend, it would be remiss of us to discount them just yet. The referee team out on the pitch tonight is led by Adrian Lichty. He will be flanked by 2 of the state's finest female officials in Jess Bird and Alicia West. I'll join you for the senior women's semi-finals tonight, having just had the under-23s game before us. The Redbacks beating the NTC on penalties in that one and taking their place at under-20 level, or under-23 level, apologies, in the big showpiece event, the 11 Cup Finals at Dorrien Gardens at the weekend. Just a couple of checks with the net off your picture at the moment. That's what's holding us up for the moment. A little bit of extra tape possibly required. A couple of members of the Mum FC coaching staff now rushing over to make the required alterations. Not ideal on a night like this, but really good crowd at the synthetic tonight. Plenty of people who have come and no doubt enjoyed the 23 games a little earlier on. Many who have stayed back, and obviously, of course, the senior girls here at Murdoch University Melville have been outstanding all season long, and box office, in terms of the way they've played football this season, very attacking, the league's top scorers. And when you've got the likes of Katarina Jukic as well scoring goals, which went viral around the country and the world as it did last week, then it really does make it a spectacle not to take your eyes off tonight. Seems as though the required alterations have been made, and Pete Rakich will jog back to the touchline. Assistants will get in place. So the scene is set now here on the synthetic on a mild Thursday evening in the west, with arguably 2 of the most experienced sides of the women's competition locking horns for one last time this year. It's win or go home time in the NPLW tonight as all roads lead to Sunday's showpiece at Dorrien Gardens and a meeting between the winner of Perth Soccer Club and Fremantle City in the night's other semi-final. A semi-final showdown here at the campus between the 2020 NPLWWA League champions and the 2019 Women's Premier League winners, Mum FC and the Redbacks, live with you tonight, and we are underway. Mum FC, the home side, playing in their red jerseys and black shorts. The Redbacks playing in their change kit, white and grey jerseys with the black shorts as Mum FC race forward early. Ellie Lamont's in the middle. Arriving's Talia Organ at the back post, and Mum FC are forward. Early opportunity. It was a good block from Emily Dunn, who read the danger. Mum FC really making their intentions clear nice and early from the first whistle. Getting on that front foot. Here's the first corner of the night. Organ's ball in. Kim Carroll with the header away. Wainwright will help it back into the area, and now the Redbacks will look to counter upfield here. Sarah Carroll is ahead of Larissa Walsh. She'll get the ball now. Carla Bennett will try and thread a pass forward for Lauren Continu-Barley, but the ball was slightly overhit. And on this Murdoch synthetic, it will skid away for portions of the evening. These two sides only met here a few weeks ago, so the Redbacks will be pretty fresh in terms of recent experiences playing on this sort of surface. It was a 1-0 defeat that night. Goal came from Sadie Lawrence with around 8 minutes to play, and that was really the result. A big Friday night under the lights. It really put the pressure on Perth, and it was a deficit that the Azzurri were unable to reel in the final couple of games of the campaign. No doubt about the title race overall, really. Perth actually did win here about a month or so ago, just to breathe some short-term life into the title race, but Mum FC, the best team all season long, most consistent, best attack, best defence. 6 points clear of the chasing pack by season's end. As Schubert picks up the ball, looks up. She's got Rosie Lane out wide. Very uncharacteristic wayward pass from Katie Schubert, a skipper who did lift the women's NPLW trophy aloft on Friday. She's done a marvellous job all season long leading this side. A very tight-knit Mum FC side, this one. Had a pretty small squad for the majority of the campaign, but they've managed to stay fit for the main part, and that obviously helps with that team chemistry and that continuity that we touched on in the opener. As Dunn slides in, Bennett will try and get there first. Jukic is back defending. Now Mum FC will flip that one out wide to Hooks, who's starting on that right-hand side tonight in place of Stacey Learmont. Sadie Lawrence. Back for Hooks again. Crossing into the middle. Lamont, I think, was the target. It'll be cleared away by a combination of Carroll and Studman. And then as Mum FC try to thrust forward again, they turn over the ball. Talk about that Mum FC season that they just had. 7 wins in those first 9 games really did propel their season. Never looked back, really. Despite the wobble against Perth, they were a team that was able to put together long stretches of wins. Had 10 in total in their 14 games overall. Just the 2 losses all season long. One of them was back in round 1 here against Balcatta, as pass down the left-hand side, released for Jukic. She'll want to get onto that right-hand side. It's Katarina Jukic striking. It was a good block from a retreating Dunn. Lamont keeps it alive. Organ's cross deep to the back post. Jumping was Hawks. Jukic will try and make a nuisance of herself. Still alive here for Mum FC, it is, as Gibbons steps in. Had a really good game on Friday night against Fremantle City, I thought anyway. Jamie Gibbons screened that back forward really well, just reads the play so well. And usually a good distributor of the ball as well, as she picks out Schubert. The ball aimed forward will run all the way through to Morgan Aquino. Conversely, it's been an interesting season for the Redbacks overall. A little indifferent. They did win 2 of their first 3 games, but been pretty inconsistent overall. They have always been around that mid-table area in the hunt for the top 4. And critically for them, they earned their first consecutive wins of the season in their last 2 games, which helped them past the likes of NTC and Balcatta in that race for the top four as Jukic brings down on the chest, looks for the support of Wainwright. No foul there. In fact, there is a foul now. It's called against the MOMFC midfielder. Those two wins, of course, were against Perth over at Kingsway Reserve and then away at Curtin on Saturday last weekend. And those two wins temporarily put the Redbacks into top four, and then Perth did them a big favour as they held their finals rivals to a draw. As stepping in here is Walsh, who's playing out on that left-hand side tonight. Cross into the middle is a dangerous one, looking for the run of Sarah Carroll, but Cornish was off her line nice and early. Let's claim the ball. I'd say one thing I would say with the Redbacks is they've been a very solid side all year long, despite the difficulties they've had with injuries. They've blooded a lot of young players this campaign for such an experienced side, and they've done a really good job to get to this point. Only ranked 6th in terms of goals scored out of the 8 teams, but 3rd in terms of defence. And crucially, they've scored 5 in the past 2 games, which is just about a 5th of their goals that they've scored all season long. So really positive signs there. As Jukic turns, looks up, she's got Lamont running down on her left-hand side. Lamont will want to get onto that right foot. She'll cross, aimed in towards the penalty spot. Aquino's got a call for it, and luckily it just skipped off the surface nicely into the midriff. Only Murdoch and Fremantle City have better defence than the Redbacks this season. 14 conceded by them, and 12 and 13 respectively by MOMFC and Fremantle. And obviously, as we touched on before, it was 1-0 last time these sides met, and 2-1 in the reverse fixture over at Kingsway in round 5. So both of their meetings have been pretty tight this season, as you'd expect from two very experienced sides when fully fit. As Billum looks up, she's going to try and pick out the run of Walsh here. She just lost the ball for a moment. Nearly came out on top. Supporting her is Bennett, who'll try to skip around the outside of Lehane, but the touch was a little heavy, and I'll just go out for a goal kick. Lamont, really nice turn there to get rid of Dunn, and through the centre of the pitch she charges. Just lost her footing slightly there though, and now the Redbacks can launch forward. They've been bright in the early stages, the Redbacks, as Bennett plays it out wide to Studman, who went to ground and was fouled, according to the referee. Studman's still down, getting to her feet slowly. So an opportunity for the Redbacks to get some numbers forward here. It'll be Bennett over the free kick, low ball. Didn't beat the first defender. She'll get another chance though. Spreads wide for Teixeira. Looks up, little clip over the top. That should skip away from Billum, it does. Very different Redbacks team to that side. It played in round 12. Carla Bennett came off the bench that night. She's starting. Really adds a lot in terms of that midfield support to Sarah Carroll, which was the only thing that was really lacking from that Redbacks performance, which was a pretty good one on the night. Bronwyn Studman, another experienced player in the team tonight, as is Lauren Continibali, who's had a good season overall, but did miss that match. It's definitely a stronger proposition for the league champions, that's for sure. As Lahane out wide, comes inside for hooks. Schubert's ball forward, looking for Lamont, headed away by Dunn. Bennett will hook in the air. A little bit of volley tennis in the middle of the pitch. Eventually Mum FC will settle on the ball. Thu's ball forward. Now Lawrence has an eye for goal herself to Sadie Lawrence. Jukic is dispossessed by Continibali, who's playing on this right side tonight. Has featured on the left for the majority of the campaign, or at least certainly in the games that I've seen her. Shouts against Lamont for handball. Play continues. All very tight and compact, but the Redbacks do a really nice job of playing out, and in the end Bennett wins the throw off Gibbons. Bennett, Carroll, Continibali. Redbacks looking really bright here. Still Lauren Continibali. Cross comes in. Carroll. Bennett will strike. Just got under that one slightly and scoops it over the bar. But this is a real good opening here for the visitors. Riding the wave of the form that they came into this final series on. Mum FC still possibly a little lethargic from their title celebrations, although in saying that they have had an extra day to recover than the Redbacks, having played on the Friday night. Not quite seen that disciplined passing that we've become so accustomed to seeing throughout the season, as Carroll looks to poke forward. Lawrence back for Organ. The pass out of defence once again is just a little wayward. Organ's clearance into touch. Talia Organ. Played higher up the pitch in recent weeks, with Stacey Learmont missing a couple of games, and when Rachel Gillies saw the red card last week, she was higher up the pitch as well. A really good left foot and set piece taker as well. Little eye for goal as well. Got forward, scored 3 goals this season. Goldfield's under 21 WA state team rep in 2019. Travelled with the state team to Indonesia. Jukic does really well to beat her opponent. Katarina Jukic, little fumble from Aquino, and Boots came flying in trying to capitalise on it, and in the end it was a lucky escape from Morgan Aquino. Nice smile there from Katarina Jukic, who can't believe how close she was to goal number 16 of this NPLWA season. Quite unusual, actually, from Morgan Aquino to fumble like that, given the last time we saw these two teams face off here. She was outstanding on the night, made 2 or 3 really crucial saves throughout the evening. A couple in particular from Katarina Jukic. Billum forward. Schubert looks up. Spots a teammate. Hook's layoff was a little light. Now the Redbacks can try and counter again. Ball slipped under Continibali's boot. Walsh. Bennett. Ball will drift out of play for a throw-in. So 0-0. Semi-finals night here in the Women's NPLWA. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages this evening. Perth Soccer Club and Fremantle City. Happening elsewhere. The winners of those 2 games will face off in Sunday's grand final. Lamont. Hooks. Pass forward's a dangerous looking one for Organ, who's arriving late on the scene, and this time Aquino was far more assertive in terms of her claim of the ball. Lamont turns over possession pretty easily, and now the Redbacks will try and make something happen once more. Continibali couldn't skip past Organ. Still a battle for possession down there behind the Redbacks bench. Throw-in will go the way of the visitors. Carroll. Walsh out wide. Toe comes in from Lahane. Here's Carroll, experienced central defender. Over 50 caps for the Matildas. A winner of the AFC Women's Asian Cup back in 2010 as well was Kim Carroll. Over 100 W League games of the glory as well, and ever present in the NPL WWA this season. Seasoned campaigner. Provides a really good experience down back, and on nights like this, cutthroat semi-finals, need your big players to stand up. She's going to be a pivotal figure as the night progresses. As Conrad McKelvey goes to retrieve a second football after the initial one had disappeared over the fence. Forward come the Redbacks again. Bennett will look to try and pick out Carroll again. Out wider is Continibali. Cross, charge down. Still here for the winger. She's got Lamont for company. Continibali kept it in play, actually. Did really well. Carroll finds Bennett inside the area. Touch was a little heavy. Gibbons was able to step in, and she's limping after putting the foot in. Play continues, though. Schubert, touch under her foot. Threw away. It's going to come straight back here from the visitors, you'd think, as Conrad McKelvey encourages his team. A round of applause to his ladies. No doubt really pleased with what he's seeing so far as Corley's fouled on halfway. Loose ball forward, cut out by Studman. Bennett, nice layoff. Walsh tries to thread the pass for Carroll. IFC can't get a foot on the ball at the moment. Now they do as Lane charges down Bennett's attempted pass, and last touch was off the Redbacks midfielder. Lawrence. Lamont tries to flick over the head of Dunn, beats her opponent. Luckily though, Teixeira was back helping out. In fact, it was Kintinibali who was tracking back from the right wing position. Murdoch University Melville getting forward for the first time in a few minutes. Lamont's cross, very deep. No teammate on the end of that one. Out and away for a goal kick. Really good crowd here at the Murdoch University campus for this game. Really hard to get a spot in the car park behind the goal on your pictures. Jukic tries a shot from distance. We know how capable she is from there. Tries to now bring down on her head and volleys at goal. And Aquino was in the right position. It was volleyed straight at her. She only needs half a sniff, and now Lawrence pickpockets her opponent. Shots deflected, and that took the sting out of things. So Redbacks have had a hairy moment or two in the past 60 seconds. Aquino's just keen to get it up the pitch as far as possible, and then the ball runs away from Dunn. Hooks wins the throw. Over on that far side of the pitch. Beautiful night for football here in Perth's southern suburbs. Unlike last night's conditions for the men's game, where it was wet, windy, a little wild as well. Barely a gust of wind and barely a cloud in the sky as well. Been a really good battle, this one so far. Redbacks really stepping up to the occasion so far against the league champions as Kintinibali flicks on. Thu was across and putting over the fence. I suspect we might need that second football. And there it goes. Bennett's turn around the corner. Error was from Schubert there at the back, I think, but Kintinibali had gone a little early in any case. Lauren Kintinibali, the ex-Stirling Panthers player, made her debut for the Redbacks in the night series. It's been a pretty good pickup overall. Pacey winger. Scored a couple of goals this season. And here she is now crossing low. Carroll lurking. Schubert intercepts and puts behind for a corner. Redbacks pressing. Bennett, one arm aloft towards the penalty spot. Carroll got a head on it. Might yet come back to Carla Bennett. It does. She'll sling that one in left-footed. Flick was off through, and then Cornish claims under pressure from Studman, who was arriving late for the 6-yard box, and now Hooks will try and launch the counter, but she was quickly swamped by 3 or 4 Redbacks players. Bennett's been really involved so far in the centre of the park. Passes to Dunn, who wins the throw. There's Bennett again making the run forward. Touch was off Carroll, a little wide of the mark, and out for a throw. Thu will let that one run for a throw. Joined Mum FC this season, did Baxter Thu after playing at Balcatta previously. Also former Southwest Phoenix and Bunbury Forum Force player. Quite a bit of under-23s football at Balcatta last season, but has been ever present for Mum FC in season 2020, as have a lot of these players who have played just about every game. As I said before, they've really managed to stay fit throughout. It's played a very large part as to why they've been so successful, as pass just escapes the grasp of Kintinibali there. Jukic has passed around the corner. Gibbons. Ball will run through to Lamont here, who's got space to turn into. Ellie Lamont takes on her opponent, looks inside. Gibbons looks up. Lawrence tried to help that one back into the middle, but Walsh was back defending, and then last touch. Not sure who that was off. It's a judge that the last touch was off Walsh. I think Walsh assumed that she'd won the goal kick for a team there, but the official on that far side saw it differently. Mum FC will essentially get a corner out of nowhere here. Outswinger to be taken by Lamont. Aimed in at the penalty spot. Jumping is Jukic. And you'd expect the golden boot winner to hit the target with that one. She was wide open on the 6-yard box, and we've seen her plunder those into the back of the net plenty of times this season. Clearest opening of the game so far, you've got to say. Game stays goalless though. Teixeira looks up, partially cleared by Thu. Now Bennett will look up. Little reverse pass was a good idea. Execution was slightly heavy though for Walsh, who has got bags of pace. Back in the team the last fortnight, Larissa Walsh, after spending a good portion of the season injured. She actually got injured in the round 5 clash with Murdoch University Melville over at Kingsway. Didn't come back until an appearance off the bench in round 13 against Perth, and then got on the score sheet against Curtin last week. You see with the pace that she has up front that she offers very good counter-attacking outlet to the visitors as Jukic attempts a Rabona through ball. We saw her do that with the goal last weekend. Real bag of tricks as Hooks tries to dig out a pass and will drift out for the goal kick. Seems like it's going to be a night for patience in terms of both of these teams and their attacking methods. Both defences have looked pretty well up to this one so far. Nice link-up play down that right-hand side from Mum FC. Lahane's cross nearly broke to Hooks. In fact, it was Wainwright, who was on the edge of the area. Gibbons steps in. Ball will come back to Hooks. Lawrence. Pass found its way to Wainwright, who took a strike at goal, but Aquino was across her line nice and sharply and was claiming the ball. Hard to tell if that was on target, but Aquino could take no chances. Now Wainwright again. Jukic helps it on for Gibbons. Bennett was tracking her player back. Lawrence looks up, pass charge down, Teixeira, and Corley's pass was over the head of Bennett there. Lamont sniffing around as Dunn tries to clear, and then Teixeira's helping her teammate out. One of the outstanding performers of the night was Andrea Teixeira. It was her first start back in round 12. A young player in the centre of defence and was really outstanding in containing Jukic for the majority of it. Organ, Lamont, offside. Aquino will come past to take the free kick. Through. Crowded out by two Redbacks players, but still emerges with the ball. Now Carroll forward. Walsh. Bennett looks up, tries to return to Walsh, but Lahane was always winning the race there, and Walsh didn't see it as a pursuit worth keeping up with. FC very insistent on playing out from the back so far tonight, as they have done for the majority of the campaign. Nice bit of skill there from Gibbons. Turn away from Bennett. Switch of the play will skip off the surface for Lehane. It's something that even catches the best players out. That skidding surface, not like this as well, where it can get a bit dewy as well. Done. Battling with Lamont. Might yet break to Carroll. Tries to poke through for Continubali. Now Corley. Brave header in there for some hooks. Now Teixeira's pass. Finds Continubali. Now she'll try and take on Organ here. Does really well, Lauren Continubali. And in the end, Organ did well to keep the pace and put out for a throw. Carroll. Bennett strikes. Similar to her effort a little earlier in the half. Similar position. Just got under that one slightly, leant back on the shot and almost just scooped its way over Cornish's crossbar. And once again, it's another nice move from the away side, though. Certainly playing with a bit of confidence. And right in this game tonight as Walsh tries to help it around the corner through. Corley tries to cut out. Wainwright got the better of her there. Now Lawrence looks up. She wants to pick out the run of Hooks, who receives possession now. Inside for Lawrence. Return pass was looking for Jukic, but as we've said on a couple of occasions this afternoon, or evening, sorry, the ball just skids away. Been the tail of the tape in a way. Both teams have looks really good in spells. In particular, the Redbacks. That final pass, though, just lacking. Both keepers have been fairly quiet. Walsh skips away from her opponent. Continubali. Little mix-up between the two forwards there. Lamont thought she was fouled. Does get this decision from Adrian Lichty. Thu will go over and take the free kick. Basically everybody in front of her other than Lane and Schubert. High ball into the area. Jukic will contest the header. Clear it goes. Carroll looks up, tries to pick out the run of the pacey Walsh, and it was a good idea from Carroll, just not quite the execution was there. Such an intelligent player is Sarah Carroll. Knows when to drop deep to get involved in the play as she did there. Also knows when to stay on that last defender and really stretch the game to create the space to help her teammates come forward and join in support. Scored 9 of the Redbacks' 23 goals in season 2020 as Sarah Carroll. As Mum FC try to get their passing together. So around about 5 minutes or so to play until half-time. Still Murdoch University Melville 0, Northern Redbacks 0. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages tonight. Cutthroat semi-final action. 1v4 here, 2v3 at Dorrien Gardens, where Perth are playing Fremantle City. I'll bring you a score update from there at half-time as Adrian Lichty halts the play for a minute. Continubali's down. Slightly back of the halfway line. A trainer was called onto the pitch pretty quickly. Contender Barley back on her feet now, which is good to see. I may have mentioned before that she did miss the earlier game here on the synthetic surface back in round 12. Started the season on the bench and has really forced her way into this team after a couple of good early season performances. Looks as though she'll be right to continue. She waits on the halfway line and tries to get back on. She is now. Full quotas restored for both teams as Jukic turns away from Teixeira. Dancing on the edge of the area is Katarina Jukic. Through pass. Not quite on the mark, but Mum FC are tenacious and win the ball back quickly. Lawrence, Gibbons. Still there for Gibbons. Pass, disappointing. Now Walsh looks up, plays the 1-2 with Studman again. Just zipping off that turf. Wainwright slides in. Corley. Now Lawrence. Hooks his ball in. Partially cleared away there by Teixeira. And now Contender will try and take on Organ. Been a good battle between those two tonight. On 2 or 3 occasions where those two players have gone one-on-one with each other. Both ways as well, with Organ going higher up the pitch and Contender tracking back. Definitely okay to continue now, after going off the pitch a moment or so ago. Bennett looks up, tries to spot out the run of Sarah Carroll. Coming across there with Schubert. Skipper's challenge. Formerly off Queen's Park and Ashfield. Ever present. Real good leader of the best defence of the division. Minutes ticking down. Prior to half-time as Gibbons turns around the corner. Jukic will win the throw-in. Half-time score at Dorrien Gardens. Just hit your mute button for 2 seconds if you want to watch that game a little later tonight or tomorrow morning. So at Dorrien Gardens, it's Perth 1, Fremantle City 3. So the visitors there at Dorrien Gardens in a good position. 45 minutes away from reaching Saturday's final at that venue, where tonight's game is being hosted. Loose ball forward, Organ. Should be able to keep that in play, does. Contender Barley, as we touched on before, tracking back well. And now a battle between Bennett and Jukic in the corner. Bennett digs out the clearance. Contender Barley, all very tight in that back corner. And in the end, the referee awards the free kick in the favour of the Redbacks. Foul there by Jukic, I think. Couldn't quite see. Behind the benches. Jukic, clever back heel. Now Gibbons is released and driving into the area, tries unselfishly to lay across. Runs into trouble and lays back for Lamont, who just loses her touch slightly, and out for a throw it goes. Clearance from Teixeira there. Murdoch University Melville looking to drive forward in the minutes leading up to half-time. And that is the final action of the first half as Adrian Lichty blows the whistle to end the first 45 minutes. Goalless here between Murdoch University Melville and the Northern Redbacks. Got to say, the Redbacks probably shaded that first half. Didn't really test Danielle Cornish, though, in her goal. The Redbacks played some really nice football, but Mom FC had the better chances in that first half. Katarina Jukic with the most glaring one as she put a header wide from 6 yards. Good game, this one, though. 45 minutes to play in this second half, live on the Murdoch synthetic. Mum FC 0, Redbacks 0. We'll be back in 10-15 minutes time with the second half. Welcome back to the Murdoch University synthetic here at the campus in the southern suburbs. Second half just about to begin in front of a good crowd here on a Thursday night. NPL women's semi-final action. Goalless at the break. No changes from either side at the interval. It'll be the Redbacks who get us underway through Carroll and Bennett. And then all the way back it goes to Kim Carroll. Turnover of possession early. Lamont looks up. Wainwright looks for an option to her right. Nothing forthcoming. Now Lahane arrives. Early cross in the middle. Jukic sticks a leg out. It nearly broke the way of the Golden Boot winner. And Mum FC will get an early corner to start the second half. As I touched on just before the break, they probably did have the better chances of the half with Wainwright's shot and Jukic just headed wide. Redbacks probably shaded the possession though. Looks very crisp going forward without testing Cornish. Lamont's corner, dangerous ball in. Jukic was there, bit of a scramble in there. Jukic will throw out a boot and then whacking clear is Teixeira. Always dangerous those ones when they just bounce off a body and just drop in that 6-yard box. You see legs flying around everywhere, just trying to get a boot on the ball. Mum FC starting the second 45 minutes with a little bit more intent. Thu looks up. Exchanges passes with Lawrence. Releasing pass was a good one for Organ, but it just skips away from her. Mum FC with 4 wins from their 7 games here in season 2020. Flawless record on the road. Aquino comes off her line, fumbles initially, and then gathers at the second attempt. Redbacks away record not so good, just the 2 away wins in season 2020, away at Curtin and Subiaco. No away clean sheet either since round 8 against Subi as well. But they have looked a lot more improved defensively. You just get the sense, even at this early stage, that it's going to be one of those games, a little bit like the last meeting between the two teams, where it's really going to be even throughout the rest of the half. It's going to be a moment of magic or an error that gives the team a goal. As Jukic puts the ball through, Lamont is racing after this, and quicker to it was Aquino. It's much better from the leaders and the league champions, of course. Remember, of course, we will go to extra time, 15 minutes each way, and then penalties if required afterwards, if we still haven't had a goal after 120. Organ's ball in, dangerous. Carroll heads clear. Gibbons lofts back forward. Lawrence does that in turn. Now Jukic turning, hooks, striking. And Organ was at the back post, but wasn't really gambling. As it turned out, the strike from Hooks took a deflection, and it'll be a Mum FC corner. Seems as though the halftime whistle came at a good time for Pete Rackage's team based on the way they've started this second period. As Organ's corner comes in, Lawrence's header takes a deflection and goes in! Sadie Lawrence hits the back of the net. She scored the crucial goal here in round 12, and she puts Mum FC in front here on the synthetic. Mum FC 1, Redbacks 0. 5 minutes into the second half. Sadie Lawrence with the opening goal. Repeating what she did here about 3 weeks ago. 7th goal of the season for Lawrence. And a goal that rewards the champions for their bright start to the second 45. Three goals in her last 4 games as well for Lawrence, who's one of those players that benefits from the role that Gibbons plays. Her and Wainwright like to get forward. Set piece is oh so important. It was a good header from Lawrence. It was on target anyway. I took a little deflection on the way through, and that was what did Aquino in the end. Can the Redbacks respond quickly? Carroll pokes forward. Clearance from Wainwright. And that'll go out over on the far side of the pitch. Carroll. Done. Sarah Carroll drifts back out wide. Wins the throw-in. Lamont clears forward. Corley scored a stunning goal, against Mum FC over at Kingsway. A long-range effort from halfway, which reduced the deficit to make it 2-1 and set up a nervy finish after goals from Ellie Lamont and Katerina Jukic that afternoon. Here are Jukic and Lamont linking up. Jukic did get to the ball first, but Teixeira kept pace with her. Now the releasing pass for Continubali is a dangerous looking one, but Cornish was off her line well and reading the play. 6 clean sheets in 2020 for Danielle Cornish, 5 of them here on the synthetic. And if she keeps her 7th clean sheet of the season here, then Murdoch University Melville will be going to next Sunday's decider against the winner of Perth Soccer Club and Fremantle City, which is currently being played at Dorrien Gardens. A venue of the weekend's 11 cup finals in 3 days. As Corley plays the ball forward, Continubali's on side here. She puts the cross in. Arriving is Walsh in the middle, fumbled, and the shot comes back in from Georgia Corley, who scores against Mum FC for the 2nd time this season. The Redbacks pull level on the synthetic. And a quick response here. Mum FC 1, Redbacks 1. What a reply from the visitors. Lead only lasted a few minutes. Continubali down the right-hand side. Dug out the cross. Arriving was Larissa Walsh. Just put that seed of doubt into Cornish's mind, who fumbled, and arriving on the edge of the area was Georgia Corley to fire home and draw the sides level. Studman does really well to barge her way past Hooks. We did say that the Redbacks had a pretty good first half. They looked on the back foot at the start of the second period, but it looks as though normal service has resumed in terms of the confidence that they've picked up again. As Lawrence goes to ground and wins the free kick for Mum FC. Billam's ball forward, continue Barley. Nice football from the Redbacks coming out of defence. Billam, Bennett looks up, pass started through, looking for Walsh. It may yet come back to the Redbacks midfielder, who's made over 200 appearances with the most successful women's club in WA. As Hooks looks to counter forward, ball into the edge of the area. Only Jukic really there for Redbacks in the vicinity. And now Lawrence tries her luck from range with a speculative volley. Not too much trouble for Aquino. Second half springs to light here at the campus. Murdoch University Melville 1, Northern Redbacks 1. If you've joined us a little late for the second half, Sadie Lawrence's header cancelled out by Georgia Corley. Both strikes slightly deflected. Extra time and penalties tonight, of course, for semi-final football if necessary. As Schubert races out of defence, plays ball out wide for Hooks. Now Jukic tries to play a 1-2 with her younger teammate, and Hooks is darting down this right-hand side. She's got Studman for pace, but Studman had her for experience and got her body in between the ball and Hooks, and now Studman will come over to this near touchline and retreat back to Carroll. Really good pace to this game in the second half as Lawrence clips across looking for Hooks. Lamont, ball back across, misses Hooks, and Carroll will just thrash that away, looking for the run of Continue Barley, who makes herself a nuisance, and in the end Organ was back supporting through. Jukic looking to put the pressure on Kim Carroll there, two W League stars. Pass finds Lawrence. Lawrence looked up. Now Corley lifts over the top for the run of Walsh, who's got plenty of pace here. Gets in between both defenders. Walsh still going. Goes to ground. No penalty is the call from Adrian Lichty. Searing pace from Larissa Walsh. She got in between both defenders, and now Redbacks are countering forward again, but Carroll's pass is a little too far in front of Continue Barley. Great crowd in here tonight, making for a good atmosphere as well. Carroll penalised there for a foul on Jukic. Each had the Redbacks bench off their seats and a little concerned. Thuse ball forward into the feet of Jukic, who tries to hook over ahead. Ball will still break for Organ here, cross deep and wayward over the goal. Neither team yet to turn to their bench so far this evening. Redbacks players warming up on a touchline, just to the right of your picture. Mum FC team all sat on the bench at the moment. As Jukic looks up, tries to pick out the rod of Lamont. It's a beauty of a pass. And in the end, it was well read by Teixeira, and hooking clear was Studman with the clearance. Haynes' throw. Stepping in Corley. And now Studman, fullback who has played in the W League with Canberra United and Perth Glory. Just the 5 appearances this season. As a strike comes in from Lamont on the edge of the area, and that one drifts just wide of Aquino's post. A little snapshot there from Ellie Lamont, who's been a really good contributor this season in the wider areas. Had a lightning start to the season. 8 goals in total in season 2020. Well, just 1 goal in her last 8 games, though, after that blistering start, which saw Murdoch University Melville really fly up the table in the early part of the season. As Bilham's ball forward will look to release Continibali, who's got the pace here and gets the ball first. Shot came in from Bennett, didn't quite catch it. And they'll be straight into the gloves of Cornish. Gibbons. Lawrence. Hooks on this near side.
Who's running? Good ball.
Lovely pass from Hooks to release Wainwright, but Teixeira was covering. Youngster's been really impressive again tonight. We spoke about her debut in this game back in round 12 in the first half. Jukic tried the worst for Lamont. Ball breaks to Gibbons. Looks up. Lawrence. Jukic. Calls in the crowd for another Rabona. It was from a similar position to the one on Friday night. Now the cross comes in. Teixeira, Carroll, under pressure from Jukic, who pinches it, but once again the youngster Teixeira is in the right place to hack that away. Throw in from Lahane, ex-NTC player. Deputised well for the injured Poppy Hooks and has maintained her place. Hooks obviously back in the team tonight for Stacey Learmont, who was on the bench. Sliding in Corley. Missed the ball, and Mum FC win the free kick, so just over an hour played. Mum FC 1, Northern Redbacks 1. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages tonight. Tommy Dolman with you on the call. Extra time and penalties if this stays level. Schubert's ball in. Arriving was Hooks, I think, there. Still plenty of players forward. Organ looks up. Opts to retreat back instead, and I'm not sure Thu was expecting the pass, but it'll work out okay anyway. Poor pass there from the Mum FC defender there, and now Redbacks can try and launch a counter. Carroll has to turn back. Bilham looks up. No one there, though. The skipper of the Redbacks, Sean Bilham. Part of the three-way tie for the gold medal in 2019, the Women's Player of the Year in the Premier League last season, alongside Gemma Crane and Laura Waltman. As Jukic looks to get a counter-attack going. She had teammates up in support, and in the end did well to win the ball back, and she's down behind play here. Jukic looking a little sore. Play continues, though. Lamont's layoff was a little wayward, and then Lawrence dived in. Didn't win the ball, and it'll be a free kick according to Adrian Leaksy. Carroll forward. Looking for namesake Sarah.
Time!
Now Lawrence. Only Jukic ahead of her. Jukic would have been offside even if the pass had reached a boot. Game on a bit of a knife edge at the moment. Really tight tussle between these two experienced sides. The 2020 league winners and the 2019 league winners facing off. The Redbacks winning the Women's Premier League last season. Mum FC winning this season's competition, the league component of it anyway. Top 4 cup spots still up for grabs for the winner of this game against either Perth or Fremantle, remember. As Jukic steals in, crosses dangerously. Aquino shouted for it, got gloves to it, and then was able to gather at the second opportunity. Teixeira back to her feet now after the referee thought about blowing the whistle for a minute. Wainwright. Lahane. Wainwright again. Very nice switch of the play there for Ellie Lamont, who's stood up there, and both players go to ground. In the end, it was a good piece of defending from Emily Dunn. Pete Rakic dishing out some orders on the touchline. Joined the club, of course, at the start of this season with a lot of the girls that did come from Queen's Park. Rakic, of course, the under-23s coach there under Ben Anderton, who's since in charge of the NTC. Done a really good job with these girls, Rakic, and he'll be keen to see his side get through at least the final 25 minutes here, if not the extra time and penalties component, which may follow later on. Bennett, nice turn to get away from Gibbons, clip into the area a little bit in front of Carroll. Hawley's header back for Kim Carroll. Jukic putting on the pressure. 15 goals this season for the Golden Boot winner. Had that big chance in the first half, of course, as well. I don't expect it to be quiet in these final 20 minutes or so, though, that's for sure. One of the players we really are lucky to see in this division. Given the flair she's shown this season, 2017 and 2018 gold medal winner. And of course, course, that viral goal went around the country and the world. If you've somehow not seen it, then make sure you get onto the Football West channels and the National Premier League channels and check that one out. So 20 minutes to play. Who's going to blink first here on the synthetic? Mum FC 1, Redbacks 1. Sadie Lawrence and Georgia Corley, 2 midfielders on a score sheet tonight. Been a really good battle between these two all night. Thu looks up. Searches for the run of Lamont, who's got the pace here and should get there first, I fancy, and she does. Lightning fast Ellie Lamont, clip into the area. Delivery was a little disappointing, though. Was the right idea, but a little too far ahead of Hooks. That searing pace from Lamont, such an outlet down the flanks. Good looking ball from Walsh there. I think Continue Barley almost gave up on that, and that's why she did give up on it, because she noticed it took a touch off Organ on its way through, and that'll give the Redbacks a corner. Good pass from Walsh. He just ties up her boots in the foreground. Walsh arriving on the edge of the area. 5 players in the box for the Redbacks. It'll be Bennett's corner. Very close to goal. Jumping was through there, and she won the header well. Corley should get there first under severe pressure from Hooks. And in the end, referee judges that Hooks went into the back of Corley and didn't claim the ball. And we'll have a second set piece in quick succession here. So a lot of the taller bodies will stay forward. Sarah Carroll, Kim Carroll. Studman will take this free kick, so that will allow Carla Bennett to get into the penalty area as well. 6 players in the mix this time. Studman's ball in, Thu with the header on. It nearly broke to Kim Carroll at the back post. And in the end, the clearance was affected by Schubert, I think it was. A little bit difficult to see over on that far side. It'll come back from the Redbacks in any case. Billum looks up, tries to pick out the run of Carroll, and I fancy that'll be another corner if Cornish can't get there, and she didn't. So 3 set pieces in fairly quick succession for the visitors, and they're just starting to ramp up the pressure a little bit. Having their best spell of the second half so far. Bennett will once again take this one. It's out to the edge of the area. Corley will strike first time. It went straight up in the air. May yet break for Continue Barley. Carroll stepped in instead. Studman's on the edge of the area. Goes through the legs of Wainwright, and then clearing behind her was Hooks. Solid challenge from Corley, who took the ball. The referee allows that one to play. Wainwright slow to get up. She's back on her feet now. Looked like a good challenge initially from Corley, and then the throw-in goes the way of the Redbacks. Much to the confusion of a couple of the Redbacks fans down there in front of us. Atmosphere just starting to lift here. Both sets of fans here tonight. No doubt knowing what's at stake here in terms of a appearance in the grand final at the weekend as Lamont gives chase. Teixeira hooked clear. Partially done. A little casual in taking a touch. And in the end, a foul was picked out for a challenge on Lamont. Not sure whether that was Dunn or a retreating Billum that conceded that one. In any case, it'll be a Mum FC set piece. Say about 30 yards out from goal, maybe a little further. Be Baxter Thu over this one. Not a renowned goal scorer. Redbacks play, sorry, Mum FC players queuing up as if they'll be waiting for the cross, and in the end that may have been the better option as Thu's effort went over the bar. Would have taken a superb effort to beat Aquino from there. Still neither team turning to the bench just yet. Both teams wanting to play their starting lineups for as long as possible. Bennett going to ground there was Dunn. No foul. Mum FC throw. Sliding in there, Dunn wins the ball off Jukic. Gibbons. Corley. Bennett. Wide for Contentibali. Still going here, Contentibali. She created that first goal, of course, which led to the clearance falling to the feet of Georgia Corley. Lahane. Bit of space to skip into. Nobody down the line, so she's got to continue alone, and in the end the ball forward wasn't quite what's the desire of her forwards. Now we will see first change of the evening. It'll be Janelle St. Pierre who enters the fray, and she'll come on for Larissa Walsh, who looks as though she's just picked up a knock here. Walking with a little bit of discomfort, but moving relatively freely. Hopefully she's okay and it is just a knock, given that she's only just been back on the pitch for a couple of weeks after being out with injury. St. Pierre on in her place, real versatile player who can play on the left or the right of midfield. She's taken her place on the right. Contentibali swapped to this left-hand side, and she's in the game early. St. Pierre chasing after Organ. Ball is cleared into touch. Had started the last 3 games as well. Janelle St. Pierre in conjunction with a decent end to the season for the Redbacks. Bennett. Pass for Contentibali is a good one for the winger. She does have to turn back. Corley leaves for Studman. Bennett tries to turn around the corner. St. Pierre is in the mix, and Thu has to scramble away, and then Lamont's pass was a little awkward by the looks of it, although it worked out pretty well for Jukic, who wins the throw. Conrad McKelvey may be set to turn to the bench for for the second time this evening very shortly. Part of the Redbacks coaching setup for a very long time. Conrad McKelvey, popular figure in the women's game over in the West. 2019 Coach of the Year after the Women's Premier League and State Cup double. So just under 10 minutes to play here at the Murdoch University campus. Mum FC 1, Northern Redbacks 1. Goals scored by Sadie Lawrence and Georgia Corley early in the second half. No breakthrough since. Extra time and penalties if it stays level, remember. As Gibbons turns away, Hooks looks up, assesses her options. Nice pass into the feet of Lamont, who brings under control. Now she's got runners ahead of her. One of them's Katarina Jukic, who'll tear after this one down the right. She should get there in the nick of time. Does so. Jukic steps over the ball, passes. Gibbons was on the edge of the area. Ball just slipped under the boot. Still alive here, though, for the hosts as Lahane looks up. Organ skips inside, does well to beat St. Pierre. Organ will drive from distance, and it was on target, but straight into the arms of Aquino. Emma McMurdo's bib is off just in front of us, so looks as though she'll be entering the game very shortly. Hooks drives past Studman. Studman got a boot in. It was a good tackle, I think, from Brodman Studman, who won the ball clear in. Now the Redbacks will counter the other way through Continue Barley, who's got zero support, and in the end she was swamped by a combination of Lahane and Wainwright. Crowd really getting into this one in the final 10 minutes. Jukic passed through looking for Lamont. Header was back by Dunn. It'll break the way of Hooks, who crosses to the back post. Lamont arrives! And she volleys over from 6 yards. Best chance that either team has had to taking the lead in the second half since those 2 goals earlier on. Second change for the Redbacks. Emma McMurdo coming on as hinted earlier for Carla Bennett. McMurdo, a youngster who joined the Redbacks this season, formerly of the NTC. Represented WA in the Girls NTC Challenge. A regular sub for the visitors, come off the bench in her last 2 outings. As Jukic looks up, looks to try and pick out Lamont again. Looks as though McMurdo's just slipped into that number 10 role. And here she is now picking up the ball. Thu plays the 1-2 with Lawrence. Still backs to Thu. Wainwright. Hooks is giving Mum FC a little bit of width here. Inside for Jukic. Kim Carroll with some really expert defending, and Adrian Leaksy will pull that one back for a free kick. Possibly a bit of shirt pulling. It's the only thing I can think of. Carroll's pass was getting turned over in any instant, so there was no advantage. Studman and Hooks. Aerial challenge. Jukic will race after that. Cleared up by Carroll. Billum Miskicked initially, came up with the ball eventually, and that's a nice releasing pass for Dunn, who's forward from full back. She's got to hurry though, because Lamont's chasing after her, and Lamont will give away the free kick, and Adrian Lixie will show her the yellow card. First booking of the evening. Based on the referee's signal there, I think that was a card given for an accumulation of fouls rather than just for that challenge in isolation. In any case, it'll be a set piece for the Redbacks here. Kim Carroll will stand over it. Basically everybody forward in the penalty area, bar Dunn and Teixeira. Dunn is now moving towards the edge of the area. Carroll's ball in, floated towards the penalty spot. McMurdo was in the mix. Last touch was off the substitute's head though, I fancy, and OFC will get the throw. McMurdo does really well, shows a nice pair of feet there to make some room for herself, but the cross was a little wayward. So, first touch was heavy, and in the end it was cool, calm and composed. Lamont. Corley steps in, looks up for the run of Sarah Carroll. Cornish was off her line trying to read the ball, and it drifted through to her eventually. Not quite gotten into the game in this second half as Sarah Carroll, but we know with the quality that she does pose that she only needs that one moment. I just sense there's still a chance in this one for either team. Not sure who it will arrive with though. Thu steps out confidently again. St. Pierre will make a nuisance of herself. Thu had to retreat back, and in the end she relied on Schubert to cover her a little bit. Carroll tries the reverse pass for St. Pierre, off Mum FC legs, out for a throw. Still time here for either team tonight. In regulation time as McMurdo tries to make a yard. St. Pierre's cross, charged down by Organ. Fullback clears. Enter touch. We'll have another Murdoch University Melville throw in. McMurdo digs out the cross, took a touch on its way out. And we'll have a Redbacks corner. Approaching the final minute of regulation time. A late goal here for either team would surely put them into the grand final. Corner comes in from Carroll. Schubert got ahead to it. Studman will chase after it. Ball will go out for a throw. Jukic. Carroll steps in. Clearing ball. St. Pierre flicks on. Billum under pressure from Jukic. Back for Teixeira. Pass looked a little short initially, and that meant Corley had to hack it long upfield. Decision goes the way of the Redbacks here. A few of the Murdoch University Melville fans disagreed, and Schubert looked a little perplexed as well. Another set piece for the Redbacks. They've had a few in this second half. Studman's ball forward. Two Mum FC players were there to head away. And now the champions will launch into the counter. Hooks driving forward, last touch. Was off Teixeira. As we step into the first minute of stoppage time. We're in the hands of the referee now in terms of added time in this second half. Referee did have a little look at his watch there. Mum FC still with a chance to find a late winner perhaps. Hooks. Ball escapes her and drifts out for a goal kick. Aquino will slowly go and retrieve the ball. The Redbacks will be pretty satisfied to reset. I think both players from both sets of players will be actually, given the helter-skelter nature of tonight's fixture. Aquino's goal kick. Jukic looks up. Lamont, chest down. Carroll goes forward. McMurdo shows a really nice spinning move there to turn away, and she was caught by Wainwright. Wainwright will go into the book. And it looks as though McMurdo's down in a lot of pain here in midfield. And I think the stretch is going to be waved on. So, distressing scenes here. At the Murdoch University campus, crowd hushes here as the stretcher comes out for Emma McMurdo, only on as a substitute with about 15 minutes to play, and sadly went down under the challenge of Wainwright. Both sets of players just resetting with their coaches somewhat while all of this is happening. We've ticked into the 4th minute of second half stoppage time. They'll be a little bit longer added on, of course, because of this delay. Full time at Dorrien Gardens, I've just been informed. We'll give you that score at the start of extra time or at the end of the regulation time, depending on which way we go. without providing those spoilers, just in case you do want to watch a little bit later on. McMurdo still down for the moment, so the game is still in a state of pause. Obviously super important that we take plenty of time, make sure the midfielder is okay. It was a distressing scene when she did to go down, and thankfully it seems as though she's going to be helped up, and that's really good to see. A stretcher won't be required on this occasion, but McMurdo still taking plenty of care along with a couple of the Redbacks staff members. Such a shame to see from McMurdo's perspective, coming on as a substitute. Really good passer of the ball, good midfield player. Really technical former NTC youngster. And we can only hope that everything is okay and the injury isn't too serious, and pass on our best wishes, of course, as she exits the pitch. 6 minutes into second half stoppage time. Renee Leota will come on in her place for the final few seconds of regulation time at least. New Zealand international Renee Leota, 15 times capped by the Football Ferns. McMurdo's taken a seat on the bench for the moment. The game will restart with a Redbacks free kick to be taken by Kim Carroll. Carroll's ball forward, header away by Lawrence. Billum will hoist forward. St. Pierre's flick on. Thu will hook away. Teixeira and Jukic will give chase. Teixeira leaves that to go out for a throw. Adrian Lichty looks at his watch, still deliberating over how much longer we'll see in this regulation time, given the injury to McMurdo. Will we see a late twist? St. Pierre's pass was a little heavy for Leota. Thu's ball forward. Studman stepping in. Corley. Pass charged down by Wainwright, and then Hooks comes across. Strong challenge. Redbacks throw. Into the 99th minute of this one. As Gibbons hoists forward. And that'll do us for 90 minutes. These teams can't be separated after 90 minutes of football. Murdoch University Melville 1, Northern Redbacks 1. We will go to extra time here on the synthetic at the campus. Goals at the start of the second half from Sadie Lawrence. And then pretty soon after it was Georgia Corley who struck with an effort which took a slight deflection. And that was the end of the scoring, really. Ellie Lamont had an effort which flew over the bar from 6 yards, and that was the closest either team came to breaking the deadlock. Sad scenes at the end of the 90 minutes as there was an injury to Emma McMurdo. We sincerely hope that she's okay. But as it stands here at the campus, I can tell you the game between Perth Soccer Club and Fremantle City is over. Maybe just hit your buttons onto mute for 30 seconds if you don't want to know the score of that one. A confirmation that Fremantle City will be playing in Sunday's Top 4 Cup final after a 6-1 win over Perth at Dorrien Gardens. So a spot in the grand final against Fremantle City at stake here for both of these teams. We're going to need at least half an hour more to figure out who it'll be, though. Possibly penalties as well, if necessary. We'll take a short break for 60 seconds or so. Shouldn't be too long until we get underway for the extra time period. Murdoch University Melville 1, Northern Redbacks 1 at the end of full time. Welcome back to Thursday night semi-final action, NPL Women's Football, live from the Murdoch University campus. Bonus football, in terms of another 15 minutes each way to decide who will play in Sunday's grand final. No changes by either side at the 90-minute mark, as far as I can tell anyway. Redbacks making 3 changes before the 90-minute mark as Mum FC goes underway to start half an hour period of extra time. Mum FC starting as they started the regular time. So just to recap, it was a pretty even first half overall. The Redbacks probably shaded it in a football sense. Best chances did fall the way of Mum FC though, and then the second half, those 2 early goals were scored by Lawrence and Corley, and then no winner was found, despite a really good chance for Ellie Lamont. Billum looks up, continued by Ali. Billum forward again. Leota, clever little flick around the corner, but Lamont was back defending. No one was able to keep pace with her from the visiting team. Visitors who have won the top 4 cup 4 times. 15-time league winners. A very decorated club. Mum FC, of course, still riding the wave from that first NPLW WA League title, which is wrapped up at the weekend as Hooks does really well here to brush off the attentions of Dunn. Had won a couple of titles prior. Murdoch University Melville women in former names. As Jukic skips into the area, toe was in from Dunn, and then Lawrence's high lofted ball will be caught by Aquino. Women won a title under the name of Melville Alemania back in 1987, and then just as Murdoch in 2001. So not quite the decorated history of their rivals tonight, but they've certainly made their mark in this first season of this inaugural NPL women's competition. It's been a really good season, of course. We hope you've enjoyed the games. We've certainly enjoyed bringing them to you live on the Football West Facebook channels and YouTube pages as well. Crowd is still a pretty good one here, considering that we are a tick after 10 p.m. on a Thursday night. As Continue Bailey looks to make some headway forward. She's only really got Leota up in support. Leota tries to tiptoe her way through 2 Mum FC defenders. That was always going to be a hard challenge, though, and now Hooks will bring the ball down, skip past 2 opponents. Leota, little tickle inside for Continue Bailey, who's into the area, and she just took the touch too many. St. Pierre's drive, may it break back to Continue Bailey in the area. She went in on the challenge to try and win the ball back on Thu. Still Redbacks ball here. St. Pierre's cross. Leota on the edge of the area, and that was always going to be a tough challenge, a tough chance for her to take. Pete Rakic will turn to his bench for the first time this evening. It'll be the goal scorer, Sadie Lawrence, who makes way. Stacey Learmonts will come on. Stacey Learmont will take her place. Up the pitch is the centre forward. Looks as though Katarina Jukic has dropped a little bit deeper. As a result, with Lamont and Hooks on the flanks. Lamont starting this half on the right, Hooks on the left. Both of them played the majority of the game so far on the opposite sides, to which they are now. Corley, Continue Bailey, Leota, 1-2, attempt there. Clearance could have gone anywhere, and it needed Cornish to come out and smother as St. Pierre was arriving. Once part of the Perth Glory women's setup, Stacey Learmont. One of a number of former Queen's Park players in this team, of course. 4 goals this season. 2 of them which came at this ground against Curtin. Good football from Mum FC. As Lahane looks up, Wainwright will try and curl one, and Aquino was able to watch that one wide. Aquino's restart. Hooks through for Jukic. Jukic returns it to Hooks. She'll want to get onto that right foot. Jukic was still on the edge of the area and just slicing that one up and over the bar. Second football will be rolled back into play. Ball was retrieved from behind the goal in pretty quick time, nevertheless. Clearance from Schubert. Into touch. Dunn will come across to take the throw. Seven appearances for Emily Dunn this season. Now Leota. Billum forward. Clearance will come straight back to Billum. Half shouts for handball. Nothing doing. Corley tries to help that one on for Studman, who was overlapping, but pass was a little ahead of her. Now Jukic will flick that one into the feet of Learmont. That was a lovely pass from Jukic, and now she gets on the end of the return and will look to release Hooks. It may yet still get to the youngster Poppy Hooks. It does. Learmont fighting for possession. Schubert has to step in here. She does really well. Great defending from Katie Schubert to anticipate the danger. And she's still on halfway here. Touch was a little heavy. Still she goes here, Schubert. Marauding forward. And then just left that one behind, unfortunately for her. And now she's out of position. But Wainwright was able to step in, albeit only temporarily. Forward by Billum. Through upfield. Dunn. Into the feet of St. Pierre. A little clip over the top. It looked good for Carroll initially, but there was a touch which did just enough. And now Carroll's making a nuisance of herself with Schubert in possession. Now the Redbacks will get a chance to attack. Going all the way down to the wire, this one. 100th minute. Mum FC 1. Northern Redbacks 1. Leota's tickle around the corner. Carroll couldn't quite get it past Wainwright. The release for Lamont was a dangerous one. And then Hooks will win the throw. Bobby Hooks, who was part of the women's state squad as 14-year-old. Really bright prospect. Women's under-23 player of the year last season and stepped up to senior level with real ease. As Lamont looks up, Learmont, Jukic wanted that right foot. Hooks is in an acre of space out here on this left-hand side if the ball can get to her, and Learmont was unable to find her. St. Pierre's clip up the line. That one will stay in play. And Conrad McKelvey urging his team to press up here and not sit back too deep.
Big switch, big switch.
Schubert's ball, Learmont's layoff. Head of Lamont. And then Lahane does an excellent job back there to deny Tinibali. Here she is again, the fullback. Returns the ball for Jukic. Studman's clearance was then into the forward. Jukic. Learmont. Jukic. Gibbons. Wainwright. Now Hooks. Crossing in the middle. It's nicely shaped. Header was away there. Half shouts for a penalty from the Crowders.
No ball, ref.
Mum FC player went to ground there. I think it was Gibbons. No real appeals from the players on the pitch though, and we'll have a restart here. for the hosts. YFC, of course, have gone the distance already in season 2020. They actually played against the NTC in the semi-finals of the Women's Night Series. That one went all the way to penalties and ended up being a marathon penalty shootout. A 9-8 loss to the youngsters in the end in that game. I wonder if we'll get to penalties again tonight. Jukic will try and see that we don't, and in the end that effort drifts wide of the mark. Carroll up the line. Brought down by Lahane really well. Now Learmont. Just sense that Mum FC are starting to get on the front foot a little more here as Wainwright's ball was a good one for Lamont. She takes the touch, finds Learmont on the edge of the area, exchanges passes with Lamont, and then Wainwright's ball was scooped up for the run of Learmont, but Aquino was off her line to claim. Possibly just try to be a little bit too intricate there. Mum FC, they have played brilliant attacking football this season. Possibly just a little shot shy on that occasion, though. Lovely flick from Lamont there to release Wainwright, who's coming into the game in the last couple of minutes or so, and Teixeira gets a toe to it, and behind that goes for a corner. So a minute to play in first half extra time here. Seconds ticking down, both sets of players looking a little weary, it has to be said. This period of extra time not quite played with the same intensity but as the opening 90 minutes, but that's perhaps understandable given the tempo that we have seen here tonight on the synthetic. As Jukic looks up and releases Lamont with a lovely pass. Lamont will dart into the area, crossing left-footed. In fact, it was almost a strike from Lamont, and no one was at the back post to gamble. In the case, the cross was high and wide anyway. And Adrian Lichty blows his whistle. 105 minutes played. Still no problem solved here at the campus, though. Murdoch University, Melville 1. Northern Redbacks 1. Sadie Lawrence and Georgia Cooley with the goals early in the second half, and that's how it stayed up until this point. A very tight opening 15 minutes of extra time. This one might just be going the distance, you know, between these two experienced sides who will be desperate to get to Sunday's showpiece at Dorrien Gardens. 15 minutes to play. Mum FC 1, Northern Redbacks 1. Welcome back to the second half of extra time here. Thursday night football here in the women's NPLWA. It's semi-final night. Placing Sunday's grand final at stake. Adrian Lichty will get us ready to go and blows the whistle on this second period of 15 minutes. If we've not got a winner in quarter of an hour, we will be going to penalties. Cornish looks up. Schubert is offering herself short. Pass up the line. Challenge was a little late from Sarah Carroll, who was exuberant in her attempts to win the ball. Redbacks dropping back in defence. Schubert's ball forward. Corley missed with the header. Learmont hooks. Turns over possession. Now Leota will charge forward. The counter-attack was open there. Carroll was the only player ahead of her, and she nearly picked out Perth Glory W League star. Here's another one in Ukic. Picking out Lahane. Hooks is supporting upfield there, but the pass was a little off. And then Carroll shows great experience and composure to wriggle away from the youngster. Ball upfield. Thu steps in. Ukic brings down, dropping into that deeper midfield role. As Leota goes in the challenge and then stays down on her haunches. Meanwhile, Lamont will counter at the other end as play continues. Carroll steps in. She's got a little bit of time at the moment to send that one upfield. Ball will land at the feet of St. Pierre eventually. And then the clearance long upfield from Billum was a tired one. Leota back to her feet now, hobbling slightly though. Just pass forward there. Hits Hooks in the face inadvertently. Ukic almost tried to pass that one to herself, but Quino was wise to it. Thu turns away from Carroll. Cornish demands possession, gets it. Schubert forward. Looking for the run of Lamont. Billum converged upon by two Mum FC players. Pass now for St. Pierre, who looks up, hasn't really got anything obvious on, so she waits, and then Dunn was unable to quite get forward. Hard to beat Lamont in a foot race at the best of times. Gibbons, nice turn, looks for the release of Hooks, who's got plenty of pace, but Aquino's not really under any danger of not getting there first. And then the quick throw for Studman, who looks up the line for Contini Barley. Corley, scorer of that goal from on the edge of the area in that second half of normal time, as the long ball comes forward and Thu will hook away into touch. A lot of players looking very tired out there. .109 played here at the campus. Still locked together at one apiece. St. Pierre goes into the challenge with Learmont. Lamont had a chance to bring that one forward. Dunn's over there taking the throw. Carroll. Ball forward again by Dunn. May drop to St. Pierre or to Leota. Neither were able to take control of the situation. Now Mum FC will look to counter. Hooks has got Teixeira for pace here and is away and off to the races, but she's not really got any support with her until Lamont arrives just behind her. Switch the play for Wainwright. Tough ball to bring down with the head. Still kept going though, Wainwright. And Learmont tried to find her teammate once more. Schubert stepping in. Good defending. Pass a little wayward though, and Studman will just hoist that one long and as far as possible. Jukic, Studman stepping in. Hooks, who's got the pace on Studman here. Now Learmont was wide open for a minute. Gibbons is on the edge of the area, beaten away by Aquino. It was on target and possibly making its way into the bottom corner. Aquino had to get down low and save. And now the Redbacks will make what I think is their final change of the evening. It'll be Lauren Contini-Barley who exits the pitch. To a handshake from Conrad McKelvey. On in her place is Melanie Douglas. Goldfields WA State team representative. Come off the bench in 2 of the past 3 weeks. Prior to tonight as Douglas. And she'll get just over 8 minutes here to try and make an impact. She'll slot in on this near touchline on the left wing. Redback still committing plenty of numbers forward here. By no means looking to see this one out. Flick on was a good one from Corley. Douglas with her first touch of the game. Now Sarah Carroll. Ball will just get away from Leota. One thing about both of these teams and their attacks is that they're so fluid and flexible. Lamont, and Jukic all like to interchange, and Carroll and Leota are very adept at doing both as well, as Douglas tries to race away, wins the throw-in off Rosie Lahane. Still time for both teams here. Leota tries to flick on, heavy collision. As New Zealand international goes to ground. Still here for the Redbacks. Leota once again in the thick of the action. Studman wins the header. Now Billum. Little ball over the top. It's a dangerous one for Douglas, who stayed on side, I think. Ball is eventually cleared to Jukic. Billum still in there. Lamont will try and win the ball, and now Thu will clear long upfield. No runners at this stage, though. Foul was from Teixeira there on Gibbons, and Mum FC will take quickly and look to get forward. Wainwright hooks, strikes. Good block there from Studman. Jukic. Little back heel. Put over the fence by Studman there. Not sure who the last touch was off on that occasion. The last touch might have been off hooks. As we wait for a football to come onto the pitch, that hill has been a little problematic tonight. In terms of quick ball retention anyway. Now St. Pierre has turned away from Thu here. She's all on her own for the moment. Carroll's now arriving in support. It's Janelle St. Pierre still darting forward. Little reverse pass for Carroll, who's straight offside. And I think the pass was played a little late for the striker. Carroll had made her move a split second before St. Pierre's release. That fraction of a second was decisive as it turned out. That was a real surging run from the fresh legs of Janelle St. Pierre, though. Still showing that there's life in this one for the visitors as Learmont wins the throw off Carroll. Less than 5 minutes to play in extra time. Penalties to come if there's no winner in the final 4 minutes. Grand final place on Sunday at stake as Jukic drives and thrashes that one wide of the target. Time ticking down here. Dunn's throw. Back forward again from Dunn. That one will roll out for a throw. A very late night here in the West on a Thursday night. Still no closer to finding out who will emerge and play in Sunday's grand final at Dorrien Gardens. Now the Redbacks have got some numbers forward here. Carroll will try and poke through for Billum, who continue to run forward. Leota did really well to win that. Corley's ball forward was a high looping one, and that allowed Cornish to come out and claim comfortably. And she'll set Lahane down this right-hand side, but the pass left a little bit to be desired. And now Studman can release Douglas, but opposite to Lahane's pass a moment ago, that one was slightly overhit. Corley brings that one down. Jukic stepping in. Learmont, early release for Lamont, who's got the pace, as we know, but even her searing pace can't get on the end of that pass forward. Carroll. Corley. Gibbons into the feet of Learmont. Gibbons again. Lamont is wide left. She'll get it now. About to enter the final minute of extra time here. Lamont's ball in low. It was more of a shot on goal than a cross, and they'll be straight into the welcoming arms of Aquino, who, as it may pan out shortly, may be a key player in this upcoming penalty shootout. Head clash here between Thu and St. Pierre on the halfway line. And that'll mean the referee automatically stops the game. Part of the concussion protocol, of course. No chances taken with head injuries, and rightly so. A lot of players around the pitch are stretching at the moment. It's been a tough night for the women out there tonight. A really hard-fought battle between two experienced sides. Teams with a lot of players who are used to winning. The good news is Thu is back to her feet. She looks a little groggy at the moment, but looks as though she'll be okay to continue. And now Saint-Pierre is also on her feet. She'll wave away the trainer. Referee waits for Murdoch assistant to make his way off the pitch before restarting things, and Morgan should return the ball here to the Redbacks. In fact, they will continue here as Wainwright goes through for Ukic. Looks to skip through. Studman with the clearance forward. Billam will also clear forward. Foul for the late. Challenge on Gibbons. One last chance for Mum FC perhaps. 121 minutes played at the Murdoch University campus. Still 1-1. Schubert's ball forward, dangerous one. It flicked off. Learmont was lurking and it skips through to Aquino. And that may just about do us here. Maybe a little more time added on for the head collision between Saint-Pierre and Thu. Both sets of players looking mightily tired now. And it will be penalties which decides who takes their place in Sunday's NPL Women's Grand Final. It's been a real tight tussle between these two teams. Two sides who couldn't be separated after 90 minutes. After goals from Sadie Lawrence and Georgia Corley. Score was 1-1 at full time. There was chances just before the 90-minute mark. One in particular for Ellie Lamont, who put a volley over the bar from 6 yards. And then as extra time unfolded, it became a tough task for both teams to create those clear-cut openings. Aquino was busy. She made a couple of big saves. Saint-Pierre drove forward and released a little late for Carroll, who made a good run forward. But as it stands, we've played 120 minutes here at the Murdoch University campus. And we are all locked at 1 apiece. And we'll be back soon for penalties. So here we go. Penalties are required to figure out who will take their place in Sunday's grand final after a 1-1 draw after 120 minutes between Murdoch University Melville and the Northern Redbacks. As we discussed in the extra time period, Mum FC have had a penalty shootout this season in the night series. And did come out on the wrong side of that one, a 9-8 defeat to the Redbacks. Oh, sorry, to the NTC. Apologies. As Morgan Aquino and Zanelle Cornish make their way down to the pressure end of the ground. And it'll be Baxter Thu who steps up. First spot kick of this shootout for Mum FC. It'll be Morgan Aquino who waits for her with the ball. Baxter Thu was at Balcatta last season. Former Southwest Phoenix and Bunbury Forum Force player. WA State team rep as well. An ever-present and a settled defensive unit, the best defence of the league. Can she contribute from the penalty spot? It's Thu stepping up and sending Aquino the wrong way. Mum FC take the lead in the shootout by 1-0. And now it's the turn of Sarah Carroll, the leading scorer of the Redbacks. Long-term Perth Glory women's star. 9 goals equals second top scorer of the division, alongside Michaela Lyons and behind Katarina Jukic. What can Carroll do here? She'll step up and emphatically fire home. Both sides score their first penalties of their shootout. And we're tied at 1-1 after one spot kick each. And now it'll be to the turn of the Golden Boot winner, Katarina Jukic, the player who finished above Carroll in the Golden Boot race. Scored that outrageous Rabona last week, of course. Can she deliver from the penalty spot here against Aquino? It's Jukic stepping up. Aquino went the right way, but Jukic plunders it into the bottom corner. An excellent penalty there. The Redback stopper went the right way and didn't lay a glove on it in the end. And that puts the Mum FC, 2-1 clear. The Redbacks have a chance to tie it up again. It's Georgia Corley stepping up. Scorer in regular time, of course. And Cornish goes the right way. But the assistant's flag is up. And I think there'll be a retake here. I suspect Cornish went off her line a little too early there, and that'll mean we'll see a retake. She was very quick across to read the movement of Corley. And that could be a really big turning point in this shootout. Adrian Lichty orders the retake. Corley versus Cornish. Take two. And this one goes through the hands of Cornish. It wasn't the best spot kick from Corley, but it did the job. And in the end, that's all that matters. 2-2 after 2 spot kicks each. And now it'll be Ellie Lamont who runs pretty quickly. Let's place the ball, keen to get on with it. Ellie Lamont, blistering start to the season, just the 1 goal in her last 8 games though. She's 1-on-1 with Aquino here. It hit the post, unlucky for the goalkeeper as it bounces off her back and into the back of the net. Somewhat fortuitously, but they all count. And Mum FC lead 3-2 in the shootout. We're 100% from the spot after 5 kicks. And now it'll be Kim Carroll to step up, the 50 cap Matilda. So much experience, played in plenty of big games, over 100 W League appearances for the Glory. Carroll will step up and coolly slot past Cornish. No blemishes yet in the shootout. We're 3-all. The first 6 players have done their job so far. And this is when it really does become crunch time in the shootout. It'll be young Poppy Hooks who's the next to come forward. Hooks versus Aquino here. Hooks steps up and blazes over. Gifts the advantage to the Redbacks in this shootout now. Aquino dived the opposite way. Hooks just got under that a little bit and over the bar it went. And now the Redbacks can take the lead in this shootout as Sean Billum, the skipper, steps up. 4th spot kick for the Redbacks and a potentially pivotal one. As Billum steps up and finds the bottom corner. Mum FC have to score now to remain in the top 4 cup in season 2020. Organ will have the responsibility of this 5th penalty for Mum FC. It'll be Talia Organ, coolly down the middle. Aquino committed earlier. It was a good spot kick. Under the pressure and under the circumstance. And it'll be Andrea Teixeira who will step up. One of the youngest players on the pitch for the Redbacks. Full of confidence. This is a real pressure penalty. She scores. The Redbacks are through to the grand final. It's Teixeira stepping up. Teixeira scores the penalty. The Redbacks are going to the grand final as they upset the league champions here on the Murdoch synthetic. And look at the celebrations. Mum FC are on the wrong end of a penalty shootout for the second time in 2020. By 5 penalties to 4 in the shootout after a 1-1 draw. After 120 minutes. Sadie Lawrence with a header from the corner took a slight deflection. It was the opening goal. And then soon after, it was Georgia Clawley who equalised with a shot from the edge of the area, which took a slight deflection of its own. That was how it stayed. Ellie Lamont had the best chance before the shootout with the volley that went over the bar. And then in the shootout, it was Cornish who saved a penalty, and then it was ordered to be retaken. That penalty was scored. And as it turned out, the Redbacks would go on and win the shootout with 5 from 5. Andrea Teixeira, the youngster, with the crucial spot kick. And the Redbacks go through to Sunday's grand final where they'll play either Perth or Fremantle City in the decider. Late Thursday night here at the campus. Full time here. Bum FC 1. Northern Redbacks 1 after 120 minutes. Northern Redbacks win 5-4 on penalties. And we'll see you this weekend for the grand final weekend at Dorrien Gardens 11 Cup Finals. In 3 days across Friday, Saturday and Sunday. My name's been Tommy Dolman. The league champions are defeated by the Redbacks. Good night.